Okay, let's create another window type, and that's a double hung window. Let's orbit outside. Take a look at the top two windows in the master bedroom. To create the double hung window, we're going to draw a rectangle and then separate the rectangle in two, and then push pull the elements to create the two parts of the windows that would essentially slide up and down. Go ahead and take the rectangle tool, draw a rectangle over the front face here, and like previous ones, double click and then right click and make it a group. Let's go ahead and double click inside our group. Take the line tool and draw a line to break this into two separate faces. Next, offset 2 inches and double click to offset the other element 2 inches. Now before you extrude, we want to separate these into two separate pieces. So take the select tool, select the top element or the top window and group it, and then do the same with the bottom. Now take the select tool, double click inside the top one, and push pull this out 2 inches, and push pull the bottom one out 2 inches as well. Take the select tool just to click outside of that. We now want to move the bottom window in front of the top window. Select both of them and move them inside the room. So we need to move this in the green axis. Let's orbit inside. You can move this in a little bit further and move it in 1 more inch. That way it's an inch on this side. And it looks like it's 3 inches on that side. And an inch on the top here. All right, the next thing that we can do, double click inside our group. And let's push pull this face back, not all the way to 2 inches. We just want to push this back 1 inch. And the same for the top. Take the paint bucket, click on the brick or the materials in the model, and we want to select the translucent one that we used downstairs and apply it on both faces here. Also take the silver and apply it to both elements there as well. Now, since this window is the same as this window, we want to right click and make this a component. And then we want to move copy it. The last thing that we notice is that the top face here should actually be up further. So double click again to enter this face. Select a selecting window from left to right around that top area. And then that way it only is selecting the elements in that top area there. Take the move tool and just move this up, making sure you're in the blue axes. Can't find the blue axes? Remember, you can press the up arrow key to lock in the blue axes. And we just want to infer it to the top point right there. If you're having a hard time finding that point, you can always click on the X-ray mode, and that'll allow you to see through the model. If you want to add trim, you can actually draw a rectangle around that front face. Offset this 2 inches and just delete the front face and push pull your front out 1/2 inch. So now you have the trim and the window. I can click out. In this case now, this window actually ends right up against the wall here. So we can make this unique by right clicking. Hide rest of the model, or find our lines where to draw these. And then simply just take the push pull. This is actually a good error. Whenever you're nesting groups, make sure when you're drawing that geometry that you're drawing it inside the actual group. So see how I drew this on the outside? When I go to push pull, I can't, because you can't push pull the outside of a group. So delete those two lines and make sure you're inside the trim here. Now you can go ahead and draw your line. And draw your line. Sometimes it's nice to make mistakes. You can learn from them. And then just erase those edges. Erase this edge here. and erase that edge there. So that's the basics of creating windows. Next, I'm going to show you a plugin for SketchUp called 1001 Bit Tools, and allow us to quickly auto-generate windows and doors and some other elements based off of values that we input into the model.